Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. It's great to see everybody. Wow, last week was an exciting, wonderful week. We finally, what they call picture locked or almost picture locked the film, which means we have done the editing. It has been a 6-month edit. We started in March and we finished in early September. And 6 months sounds like a long time to edit a film, but it's actually considered very, very short in the documentary filmmaking world. And last week, we also submitted the film to Sundance, which is super exciting. And they only accept about 2% of the film submitted. So fingers crossed, it's a long shot. But this is going to be a film that I've said this before, it's not a film for you, for the erased parents out there, erased families. It's a film for the people who don't know about this issue, who have never heard of this issue, or who are themselves victims, who are erased families, but don't know it. They just think that this is their normal part of their life. So what's very exciting too is today that we had our first webinar for all of the people who signed up to be ambassadors of for the Erasing Family film. And if you sign up to be an ambassador, and it's super easy, you just go to www.erasingfamily.org. I'm typing this in now. And click on Become an Ambassador. And what will happen is you'll be given a 1-hour video to watch about the message of erasing family. You'll sign a code of conduct, and then you will get access to a webinar that I lead. And universities, police stations. Why police stations? Because they're often involved in calls involving custody cases and they don't know what to do. Local family courts, community organizations, houses of worship, local libraries, you name it. And there's a way to do this. And what's also great is a lot of parents have told me and advocates have told me that one issue that they always get is that they feel that they're on the defensive, that people react negatively to this issue. So going into your community with a film and just asking people to watch a film and discuss it later, it's all you're asking. You're not asking to sign anything, to vote in a certain way. And it's great if you think they disagree with the message of the film, those are the people who you want to reach. So if you can sign up to become an ambassador, it's about 10 hours a month of work, so about 2 hours a week, so less than an afternoon a week. And you will get all the tools you'll need to become a successful advocate for the film in your community. And if this goes well, if people enjoy the experience, that will make all the advocacy that you are doing in your own personal life and in the community so much easier, because they will have a fond memory of you and they will get to know this cause in a fun and interesting way. And most importantly, the film can also be used to reach out to your children. If they are in high school or university, arrange a screening at their high school or university. And for the parents to say, well, I feel uncomfortable or not allowed to go to my kid's school, don't worry, we got you covered. We are connecting, we are cross-referencing ambassadors. So one person will bring the film to the school of the other person's kid. So this is going to be a very effective way to do outreach. I want to say hi to Jeff, Cybook, Cindy Wilson, Richard Lee Thomas, Kelly Michaels, and Rick Tobin. You can ask a question or leave a comment in the comment bar. And this will be a short call today. So for those of you who joined in late, we picture locked on last Thursday and sent the film to Sundance. So all we have to do now is the color correction, the sound correction, finalize the music and the graphics, and the film is ready to be released. But to do that, we do need help and also to work on the impact campaign. So if you haven't already and you want to know how a simple way to get involved. So Rick said he signed up for the webinar tomorrow. That's great, Rick. Richard Lee Thomas is such a beautiful thing. I'm so glad. If you want your name in the credits of the film, there is still time, but we'll be closing that list sometime in October. We'll announce the date. So you can also make a tax-deductible donation at erasingfamily.org. And I can't say who, but there have been interest from 3 household name celebrities around the film and coming on to support the film. So we are behind the scenes working really hard to make sure that this film not only impacts people, but impacts society by getting some big names and heavy hitters around that. And a lot of people have been asking, what can they do to get involved? You can also sign up to be a volunteer if you have a specific skill. We have some unglamorous needs like lawyers to help set up a nonprofit, to help review contracts, paralegals, social media outreach. There's a lot of help that we need. So if you are willing to do that, please contact us. And when you fill out the form to be a volunteer, be as specific as possible. And don't email us. We want you to use the form because it databases everything. Are there any comments, questions for me? Because this has been I did a webinar today for an hour. I did a contract call for an hour, so that's 2 hours. I did a call with a manager of a celebrity for another hour, and a social media person for another hour and a half, so 3.5 hours on the phone. So I need people to talk. Jeff Simon, if I might ask, are background checks conducted for those who want to be an ambassador? No, they are not. You're the first person to ask that. And what we do ask people is that they are in a safe, healthy space to be able to do this work. So that means that they are in a support group if needed, or therapy, and that they're not undergoing that they're not going through trauma at this moment. I know everyone has been through tough cases, but if it's something that's very active, you can't get out of bed, you're depressed, and you should not be an ambassador. If there's a specific reason why you're asking that, please let me know. Cindy Wilson, you're awesome. Thank you. So are you, Cindy. Any other questions? Can be about your kids, what's going on with the film, who's involved. I'll talk for another minute then. So what I think is really exciting about the ambassador program is that it's giving people the skills to become effective advocates by giving them what sounds like a simple project, but does have a lot of moving parts, which is setting up a screening in your community. This isn't about setting up a screening at a movie theater. This isn't about, getting the film on TV. That's what our job is. It's about, having people discuss the film afterwards. Kelly Michaels, are you going to have any more preview clips of the film? We hope so, but probably later on in the process, once we get a distribution deal, because the distributor, they are going to determine how the film will be released. Hi, Helen, Hazel. Helen, were you supposed to be on the webinar today, or are you on tomorrow? Because I didn't see you today. Just asking. Any other questions? Rose's Place, do ambassadors view the film before they go out with the message of this film? Right now, the film's not ready to be viewed because we're still watching it, and also a huge concern of ours is security for the film. So if we begin to send out links to the film and having people watch it, if anybody leaks that or shares that on social media, then what it means is that the film will not be able to be played in any festival. It will not be able to be shown on TV, and basically it will only be able to be seen on the internet because nobody would want to distribute that film. So HBO and Netflix would be completely out. So it's not a risk we can take right now. We did have an experience with our past film, Erasing Dad, where we showed it to one person who said they could help. And they said, I can't wait for this film to get out. And the film was going to be premiered a week later in a movie theater. And they said, I'm going to post it on social media right now. And they basically held us hostage with threatening to release it, thinking they were doing something good by getting the message out, not realizing that they would ruin all the hard work that we put in, our supporters put in, to get the film as much press as they needed. And even with the ambassador program, we share a private video with everybody, and it's password protected, it's clear not to be shared, and then someone put on their Facebook page. And we have to be very careful because it could jeopardize the hard work and support that we've gotten from everybody. Kathy Wood, thanks for all the work you do. Looking forward to the film and much needed changes. Looking forward to it too. So for all the people who said thank you, Kathy and Cindy and Richard Lee Thomas, have you guys and make sure that you've liked our Facebook page, because this is going to be a silly ask, but we're at 19,890 likes. Next week, we're going to be showing this film to people at Netflix and HBO. And we've put all of our materials that we have 20,000 Facebook page likes, because we just assume we'd be there by now. And we aren't. So if you haven't liked our Facebook page already, please do so. If you can invite a friend or family member, or even better, a few, with a personal message, or sharing the page on your personal newsfeed or something like that, and ask people to like it, that means so much to us. We're only 110 likes away to getting to 20,000. And there's a lot of people who follow us but haven't liked the page. So if you're one of them, please take a moment. Speaking of which, if you can, hold on a second. See if there's a way to do this. You can share this video right now on your Facebook page. And if you join late or want to watch our other videos, they're under videos under Facebook, and also on our webpage under resources. You can also watch these videos at any time if you ever miss them. So I am waiting for Kathy Wood to answer me, and Helen Hazel, and Cindy Wilson, and Richard Lee Thomas. Have you guys liked the Facebook page yet? I know Rick Tobin has. Give me a yes. Yes? Okay, awesome. Any other questions? This is the time to ask them. While I'm waiting for it to see if there's any more questions, I'm going to give a shout out to another movie that deals with parental alienation. It's been in movie theaters. You might have heard of it. It's called Crazy Rich Asians. It's a fun film. I kind of didn't like the political message of the film, that, rich people are just great and we shouldn't question how they got all their money. It's a fun rom-com. But there is one character at the end, a woman who, when her husband cheats on her, she says, you won't see the kid when it's good for you, you'll see the kid when it's good for him, which to me is the first step in alienating behavior. I found it very interesting that there is that they mentioned that in the film. So Kathy Wood said, so exciting. We'll try to get others. I've already been alienated for 14 years. I'm so sorry, Kathy. There is hope. The producer of the film had no contact with his daughter for 14 years too. And when she turned 21, they reunited. So it's really tough, but hang in there. There is hope. Happy endings are possible. Hi, Pete. You just joined. So if there aren't any other questions, I will leave you to it, but you all have marching orders. Like the Erasing Family page if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you have, but you'd be surprised sometimes you're following stuff without liking it. 2, get 5 friends to like it, or family members. Just be like, hey, dude, like this page. You probably know other parents are going through this, or in other parental alienation support groups. Promote the page and ask people to like it. We're trying to get to 20,000 by Tuesday. So when network executives see this, they're like, we want to put this on our network, put some real resources behind this, and get this message out there. And as silly as it sounds, it does help, because it shows that people, are supporting the film and waiting for it. If you want to, there's still time to sign up to be an ambassador. And you will get a free training on how to set up screenings in your community and promote the film, and also turn those screenings into press opportunities so the local press will report on this issue. And if you want to say, Rick Tobin, I want more friends and family to like the main Erasing Family page. Thank you, Rick. It's an easy ask and it's so silly, but we're only 110 likes away. So if just the people who are on there, if everybody who's listening to me right now could get 10 people to like, we would be at 20,000, right? That's all. So if in the next week each person get like 5 or 10 people to like the page, it will make a huge difference. So thank you, Rick. Always invite people personally. Posting on your page is great, but it's always better to invite people with a private message. And then if you're always wondering, well, how can I help? We're going to be finishing the film in October. So if you want your name in the credits and your dedication to your child in the credits, please make a tax-deductible donation of $50 or more at erasingfairly.org. Everybody who donates, even if it's $1, gets thanked on social media and on the webpage. To be in the credits, it is $50 or more. You can also make a monthly donation, $5, $10, $50, $100 a month. And it really is helpful because, as you all know, there's so many costs associated with this. So not just the big cost of the film, but for example, we had to purchase an SSL certificate, so to make our site secure, and that's $70 right there. But otherwise, everyone who goes to the erasingfairly.org is going to pop up and it's going to say unsecure website. So it's very important, that this, that these resources keep on happening, because I've been very clear from the beginning. What separates this cause from other causes that are more in the public eye is a lack of institutions and a lack of resources. And my hidden agenda behind training all of you to be ambassadors is, I had this realization the other day. What if I get sick? What if I have to travel? What if a family member gets sick? What if I decide to start a family, need to take some months off because I gave birth? Right now, everything's very dependent on me. And to make sure that we have a lasting effort, I need to pass my knowledge and information on to others so we can grow exponentially instead of geometrically. I hope I'm getting this right. Some math person can correct me. So that means if with the ambassador program, we can train 100 awesome ambassadors to go out to their communities and spread this message, then they get more people. And if each ambassador gets 10 other ambassadors, all of a sudden we're at 1,000 ambassadors like that. So we can grow like that. And that means that things won't be as dependent on myself, which is important. If anything happened to me, God forbid, that this work can continue, that we're not, because a good movement is not leader dependent. It makes everybody a leader in what they're good at. So I feel that that's very important. I'm very excited. And people came up with some great ideas on the webinar. Brian Farley, Jason Dadjoin, Jeff Sybok, who would be the ideal ambassador candidate? So Jeff, anybody who signs up and completes the training and who follows the code of conduct is an ambassador. We don't screen people. So the way you get removed from our list is you don't follow the steps, you don't show up to the webinar, or you show up late. Today someone showed up 20 minutes later. I said you have to take it again because we are advocating for professional behavior. Somebody who is incredibly emotionally unstable would not be appropriate, who would embarrass the film because you are being a messenger for the film. Oh, hi, Lisa. Lisa's there. Good to see you, Lisa. So Lisa, I hope that you will, and I'm going to put you out there in front of everybody. We met in a cafe about 2 years ago, and you promised me that you would come on as an associate producer, which means a donation of $1,000. And you're almost there, and I hope that before we finish the film in October, you can complete the money that's missing and be our 42nd associate producer to come on. I was telling people, I know you joined late, we only have a month left and to get your name in the credits. And I really want you to get the recognition you deserve. I know you've been very busy, but I hope we can see you on that list as an associate producer. Lisa has been a great support in the Bay, and she is so close. And a lot of people become associate producers by making a few payments. And right now we're in a very critical stage in the film as we are finishing, but also ramping up our impact campaign to make sure that we get this film into schools, into libraries, into universities, because once the kids see it, this will help the kids realize what happened to them and be open to reunification. Because if you, as you all know, if you are outreaching to a kid who doesn't want to talk to you, whatever you say, brick wall, it has to come from outside. You have to have an inciting incident, and that's what we want the movie to do. So Jeff, let me know if I responded. So Peach and I, do you feel things will get better for parents, in particular fathers, under the present government administration? So I assume you're talking about the U.S. administration. Correct me if you're talking about a different country. I try to stay out of politics involving this issue. I do say all the time that this is not a partisan issue, that neither political party has done much good or even much bad, that this is a systemic problem. And to tie it into one party or another, I think, just doesn't get us anywhere. And this needs to be bipartisan. In the country Chile, when they passed a shared parenting law a few years ago, it was passed unanimously. That means 100% of the people voted for it in both the Senate and the lower house. And that's what we need here. So, I make no lie about it. My politics lean left of left. If that's what I grew up in, and that's, thanks to that, I'm able to do this work because I grew up, being a community organizer, being a union organizer. So, I know how to get stuff done, how to, talk to people. And, I was trained to do that. It's not a skill I was born with. I actually went to school on how to organize political actions, how to talk to the press. So to kind of go back to your question, Pete, I don't see that, any particular administration of any politician I know out there would really talk about this issue. I've seen of people inventing memes, saying that, President Trump will repeal certain acts and do that, which I don't think he's ever said. People are just posting fake things on the internet. And I think that can be very harmful. And I think aligning with one political party, because is very harmful. And as a nonprofit, we can't lobby. We can't tell people how to vote. And so when people say, can you speak to a politician? I would say, I can, but I have to speak to if they're running for office, I have to speak to the other side, or at least give them that opportunity. I feel that there is a lot out there that can expand this issue. For example, we talk about, Black Lives Matter, and, Black fathers, they receive a lot of stereotypes and discrimination for being deadbeats. They have their baby mama, and it's completely untrue. The statistics don't bear it out, nor do my experience talking to people. This is a perfect issue for feminism because, if feminism is about equality, what can be more equal than people raising their kids together, sharing it 50-50? And the advanced countries that are more advanced than the US and Canada, gender-wise, the Nordic countries, 50-50 shared parenting is the default. It is the norm. And it's just assumed you're going to share responsibilities equally, but also the message that people get is that fathers and mothers get equal time off, from work to spend with their children. So I also, I'm not, a lobbyist. I don't go talking to politicians. I want the film to be used by the people who can to do that, because it's not my happy place. My happy place is talking to normal folks. It's not talking to politicians. It's not backroom dealing. It's not writing legislation. So any other questions? Hi, Patricio. I hope you're doing well. We should connect sometime because we're both in San Diego. Leslie Christie, this is not a political issue. Please don't make it that. I'm not literally very involved in the movement. Agreed. That's what I was talking about. This can't be a political issue. What I was talking about is that my politics, and I make, it's not a secret, are left of left. But I agree, this cannot be a partisan issue. This has to be bipartisan. So anyone who is working on this legislatively, I think if they're not making this bipartisan or getting both sides of the aisle, or in whatever country, both sides of the political spectrum to work on this, you are, you're not doing it the right way. And I remember when I did this erasing data in Argentina, there was a lot of all these politicians, from this political party are against the film because one political party, some main politicians had the film censored. But within the same political party, there are parents who couldn't see their kids who are in high positions of power. So it's about personal ideology more than a political ideology. Jeff said, because soon an alienated parent becomes an ambassador, how would their alienated children view the parent being an ambassador but not being involved in their own lives? Well, I think, Jeff, that, the point is that if they are saying, I think it could only be positive in that you are showing your kids that you are taking concrete steps to see them by being an ambassador. And if they say, well, you abandoned me, then you're like, no, I didn't. I've been fighting for you. And I've actually been advocating for this. And also, that's why if this is going to create an awkward situation, and you want your kids to see the film, we will cross-reference you with an ambassador to to take the film to their school. So David Schubert just joined. Hi, David. Hope everything's going well with you. If you have any updates to share, please write in the comment box. But, you know, when you're an ambassador, it's not like, you know, you are in this public role that everybody in your town is going to see who you are and you all of a sudden become famous. It means that you are trained to speak for the film and coordinate on its behalf personal screenings, and hopefully this will lend into other advocacy. So it's also possible that your children will know that you're doing it. I think, you know, pushing stuff in your children's face, like, look at what you're doing. It's better if they discover the film on their own. And that's why, and I've also been very, you know, transparent about this. The reason why we took, you know, a few years to make it, and we need all these resources, is to make it good enough so that people watch it on their own, and not because someone sends them a copy, but it's like, you know, any good Netflix doc, you know, people start talking about like, oh, have you seen this? The Clinton administration started the family court thing. Trump did officially said he doesn't like families separated and did issue an order to that effect for the recent immigrant issue. Hillary believes children should be raised by villages, i.e. states. Hillary is pro-feminist, and feminist agenda is to break down the traditional family. Unfortunately, to win a war, it's not only a political level. If you support the alt-left, she negates everything you do here. I think, you know, you're missing the point, which is this needs to be bipartisan. I don't know what the alt-left is. It's a term I've never heard of. But that's the issue. I'm talking about healing and making it bipartisan, and this is what I want the parents to look at and change the way that they talk. You all of a sudden bring up all these other points and start attacking. If we are teaching, if we're saying to parents not to attack the other parent, we're saying to the courts, let's be less adversarial. Attacking each other, that's not mirroring the behavior that we want to inspire in society, which is to increase and love, to increase our ability to communicate. I've been very honest, you know, this is not, this film that I'm doing, this movement is not a vehicle for any political ideology. It is a movement that allows the children to speak in a way that moves the hearts of society. And it's not about one politician over the other or one political group over the other. I could take some facts, you know, I'm looking at your comment, Pete, like I could take, you know, I could fact check some stuff. You know, family courts have been around much longer than Hillary Clinton. You know, but, you know, also, you know, I'm not, you know, said Trump doesn't like separating families. He's separating a lot at the border. And, you know, to me, you know, one thing that really frustrated me, and I called some parents out on this, is when the whole border issue in the U.S. was, you know, children being separated from their parents at the border, a lot responded with, well, what about us? We're U.S. citizens and we can't see our kids. And no one, it's like, no, dude, be there because you know the pain that those parents are going through, and be there in solidarity with them and show up. And then when it's time to talk about your issue, people will see you as a good, honest person who has supported them in their struggle. And that's how movements are built, by helping each other, not by getting angry that they're winning the suffering contest and taking that spotlight away from you. Because when I told people who are not going through this, that some people were commenting that, they were shocked and horrified. And I understand if you know, I'm not saying that you did that or anybody on this list did that, but it's one thing to say, you know, this also happens in other ways. This is not just one isolated incident. There is a huge societal move to separate families. But to say, why aren't you paying attention to my suffering? It's not a suffering Olympics where one person wins. Rose Place, does the film touch on attorneys who meet secretly with children or other misconduct that aids in alienation? Not attorneys that meet secretly with children specifically. And I think also, so Rose, a lot of parents asking these very specific questions in the film, like, will this film touch on this little specific issue that is, you know, dealing with my life? The film is for a general audience and talks about this in a very general way. And even with the stories that we follow with the kids, you know, we can't put every detail in the film or just get exhausting and tiring. So there isn't something specific, but there's also a lot of you are going to find things in the film where, like, that's not a specific reference to my story, but we're creating an arc, a narrative that will help everybody. So we're not getting into the little nitty gritty of everything. You know, there's terms we don't use in the film or even explain. Like, we don't get into what guardian ad litem's are because already there, it's live, you've lost people. So Wilson would like to advocate for children and fathers' rights in Canada. Well, I hope you join and sign up to be an ambassador. I do, you know, I prefer instead of fathers' rights, children's rights to have both parents in their lives. Because it's not about the right of a parent over a child, it's about the child's right to have access and love both parents when they're fit. Peach-Eye, family court is a political issue. So it can be. It's not my goal. I'm also, you know, this is a nonprofit organization. We can't be partisan and we can't take political sides. So, you know, I think it needs to be a nonpartisan issue. And if you mean everything is political, like the personal is political, of course I agree with you. But it would be very easy and convenient if we could say one political side is responsible for this. Unfortunately, that's not true. Most politicians don't even have this on their radar. I remember at one debate, someone asked them a question about child support rules. And all four politicians, they happen to be Republicans in this case, but they honestly did not understand the question, what was being discussed at all. Like, it wasn't even that they answered one way or another. They like didn't understand what was going on. And so Pizza, I'm not asking anyone here to support Trump. I'm asking everyone to write letters to your senators to reform family court. Get out of their comfort zones, throwing your votes. So here's my, so Pete, I think that could work. Here's the issue. In the United States, family court is run state by state. So you should be writing to your state senators. The also thing is, what politicians are really interested in are in votes, political organization, people who can vote them in and out of office. And right now, the movement, the advocacy is so in its infancy and disorganized that that's unable to threaten that. There was a 1 million parent march last year and about 100 people showed up. This, you know, things have to be, you know, you have to build a movement. The civil rights movement, to win the cases in the 1960s, argued in front of the Supreme Court, trained the lawyers to do so in the 1930s. So what we're lacking right now is a little bit, you know, of a vision in that way, and the preparation for that. So, you know, I always advocate, start up in your own community. Because people say, how do I get in touch with a senator? And I always ask, have you talked to the parent-teacher organization in your town? No. Start there. And that's how we build. And that's because those people you have access to. They will probably easily watch the movie. They'll support it. They'll talk to you. And then when it's time to have a legislative reform, we have all these votes built in, because if you poll people and they say, I don't know what you're talking about, politicians will see that. Any other questions? Thank you everyone for joining. So just a quick recap, we are finishing the film. We picture locked last week. We sent it to Sundance. We're going to be sending it to South by Southwest in Tribeca. Next week, we are taking it to Hollywood to see if, you know, a big major network will put it on. And we need your help. So if you haven't liked our Facebook page already, do so right now. Get 5 friends to like it before Tuesday, because we need to get to 20,000 likes, and we're right now at 19,900. So we're so close, but 20,000 is a much prettier and more impressive number than 19,890. So I think what's very, you know, interesting is already, you know, we have Jeff and Leslie, and, you know, Jeff is saying fathers too, Leslie's saying all parents. And right now, you know, it's like this can't be a gendered issue. And I say that not just because so many moms who can't see their kids have contacted me, but also because it's just not an effective way to approach this. And because when I talk to people about, you know, the domestic violence industry, gender discrimination, the courts, you know, their eyes glaze over. But when I talk about, imagine that you're a kid and you've been told your whole life that one parent doesn't want to see you and is bad for you. And then you find out 20 years later that's a lie. That they wanted to see you, that they fought for you, that they spent all their money trying to see you and weren't able to. And everyone goes, oh, that's awful. My God, my heart's breaking. That happened to my cousin. That happened to me. Dear God, that's so awful. The reaction is so different when you lead from the child's perspective. Comment. Wilson, Cindy Wilson, it's about the children. So I will leave you with that. Please like our Facebook page, share this video, share our post. If you want to get more involved, also, if you want to be on our mailing list, please go to erasingfeeling.org, sign up for our mailing list. You can be an ambassador. You make a tax-deductible donation to be in the credits of the film. And you can also make a monthly donation. So every month, $10, $50 will be taken off of your credit card automatically. Lots of people are doing that. It didn't mean to be a gender issue, just seems that the courts favor mothers quite frequently. Don't have time to respond, but thank you so much for being here. Please share a message, and remember, take care of yourself, get help, get support, get therapy. Your kids need you healthy, safe, and happy, because when they seek you out, they will want to have a relationship with you if you are healthy and happy. And I know that's very hard to do, but it's not just take care of yourself. It's how you reunite. It's when they find you later and they're like, oh wow, you have all this love to give me, because kids are selfish. Peace out. Bye.